So we had covered percentage yesterday. We are going to cover profit and loss today, and which of course is essentially an application of percentage and ratio and proportion to a certain extent. Let's get the basic definition out of the way. Selling price as a result is always cost price plus profit. Yeah. Selling price is simply cost price plus profit. In case you're incurring loss, or in case the person in the question, the shopkeeper, whatever it is, incurring loss, then selling price is cost price minus loss, whatever that loss is. And profit and loss percentage, of course, should be here loss percentage as well. Profit or loss percentage is always calculated on CP. It is profit or loss divided by cost price into 100. Yeah. This is clear, guys. This is very simple. I think you've seen this before. That in terms of percentage, calculating profit percentage or using profit percentage, it is always the absolute value of profit, and that is essentially selling price minus cost price. I could have replaced profit here with selling price minus cost price, or loss here with cost price minus selling price upon cost price. It always remains upon cost price into 100. Yeah. And discount is obviously always mark price minus selling price. Mark price is always greater than or equal to selling price. Discount is never a negative quantity. So what is mark price? We will discuss a little bit more in detail. I'll just move to the whiteboard. The discount percentage essentially is discount upon market price into 100. Yeah, in terms of absolute value. Always. Discount is also always calculated upon the market price. Now, what I want to say here essentially is that this, if you remember this diagram, you will generally not make a mistake in calculation. And of course, if you use your calculations accordingly, you start from the cost price, you add profit or subtract loss, and you get the selling price. And this could also obviously be given in percentage terms. Or you start from the market price, which is also the claimed price, which is also known as the maximum retail price, which is also known as the list price. Many names for a market price, but as the first point claims, this is essentially the claimed price. Yeah. So the price that the shopkeeper claimed that he can sell at, and then of course the shopkeeper subtracts a discount from the market price to get the actual selling price, to get the price at which the deal is actually done. So say if I'm a shopkeeper, I buy my goods at a certain price, that is the cost price. If I add profit or subtract a loss from that cost price and then sell it, then the actual price at which the deal is done is the selling price. This could also have been done, of course, by marking my cost price, marking up my cost price by a certain percentage, say, and getting the market price or the claim price, and then subtracting discount. Yeah. So say my cost, I could have bought my goods at 100, marked them up by 50%, got my market price as 150. This increased my cost price by 50%, which is what markup is. Yeah. And then sort of given a 10% discount to get the selling price as 135. Is this clear? Yeah. No. Cool. Of course, as I had shared, profit essentially is nothing but selling price minus cost price. You increase the selling price, You increase the cost price to the selling price. You increase that, and this difference is what profit is. In percentage terms, profit percentage is nothing but the value of profit, which is selling price minus cost price upon cost price into 100. Now, what I want you to remember from this is uh, profit percentage is essentially nothing but percentage increase. Percentage increase on cost price. And what do I mean by that? I mean, if the question says that a shopkeeper enjoys 20% profit, 20% profit essentially means, in practical terms, in calculation terms, con terms, that the value of profit, its absolute value, is 20% of cost price, which essentially means you can conclude here or can understand that 20% of cost price essentially is the increase on cost price. So this essentially means that selling price is 20% more than cost price. So it is essentially cost price plus 20% of cost price, which essentially means selling price is 1.2 times cost price. 1.2 is obviously also 6 by 5. Is this clear? This is the understanding I want you to carry because this is going to help you a lot. 20% profit simply means that selling price is 1.2 times the cost price or 6 by 5 times the cost price. Yeah. Also, you could have seen this as I don't want to take this away, this board, but yeah, I will. Taking this away, sorry. 30% loss. 30% loss simply means that the value of loss is 30% of cost price, which means that you have decreased the cost price by 30%. Loss is essentially percentage decrease on cost price to get selling price. So this means that selling price is cost price decreased by 30%. It is 70% of cost price. We covered yesterday. This means that selling price is 0.7 times cost price. Is this clear? This is rather important because it directly allows you to understand what loss means and connects it to values or ratios of selling price and cost price. Is this clear? Because now if I were to ask you if selling price by cost price is 12 by 12 by 5, say. If selling price by cost price is 12 by 5, what is the profit percentage equal to? What is profit percentage equal to if selling price by cost price is 12 by 5? $401.4%. Okay. Anyone else? Is it 140? Does everyone agree? It is indeed 140, and you could have. It's okay. You can simply get that by understanding that 12 by 5 is 2.4. Now you may remember yesterday we discussed that multiplying, or if a quantity is multiplied by say 1.6, this essentially means an increase of 60%. Or we've done the reverse more, that increasing a quantity by 60% means multiplying it by 1.6. But of course, multiplying a quantity by 1.6 means that that quantity has been increased by 60%. Similarly, if selling price by cost price is 2.4, or in other words, selling price is nothing but 2.4 times cost price, this means that cost price has been increased by 140% to get selling price. This increase on cost price to get selling price is what profit is. That is all you truly need to understand. Yes, I guess this, I hope this is clear. because, okay, cool. Let me know if anyone has a problem, because this is exactly what discount looks like. Loss and discount is very similar in the sense that both are percentage decreases. A discount of 30%. 30% discount essentially translates to the absolute value of discount being 30% of market price. Always calculated on the market price. Yeah. Which essentially means that selling price is a 30% decrease on the market price. So, from the market price, you are selling price is always market price minus discount. And if you are 30% discount, it would amend market price minus 30% of market price, which means selling price is 70% of market price or 0.7 of market price. Yeah. So you can directly connect 30% discount with the ratio 0.7, multiply market price by 0.7, and you get your resultant selling price. Okay, cool. That is good. If you understand it, it's very good. And if you do understand this, then this is just to summarize. 20% profit means profit is 20% of cost price, 30% discount means discount is 30% of market price. And to begin with, you have a small table. Why don't you fill in the missing values? Quickly go ahead and fill in the missing values, please. The values missing with the question mark. I mean, essentially filling the blanks where you have a question mark. Possibly, Charan, possibly it is 60. What about cost price? Okay, good. Keep going. The answer to 1 is indeed cost price is 300 and discount is 60%. If you got it correct, good. We keep going and solves 2 and 3. That was really quick, Punita. We have got most of your answers correct. Good. Indeed. Any problem? Did anyone face any problem? So let me write the answers here. Cost price is indeed 300. Discount is indeed 60%. Cost price is indeed 200 here. And market price is indeed 400. Here it's 100 by 500, 200, and of course this is 200. Did anyone have a problem? I hope you're using the essence of profit and loss, which is direct multiplication. So if I had to calculate 300 here, the simplest way we could calculate this is to say that selling price 240 must be 0.8 times cost price. 20% lost means I have to decrease cost price by 20% to get selling price. So 0.8 times cost price is 240. That is what 240 means. Or here, if I had to calculate the discount in percentage terms, the discount value was 360. Discount percentage is, of course, the value of discount, 360 upon 600 into 100. Yeah. And similarly, if in question number 2, selling price is 320, this must be equal to 1.6 times. 60% profit means 60% increase. So 1.6 times my cost price must be 320. 1.6 times 200 is 320, therefore cost price is 200, and so on. This is what we keep doing. So 0.8 times the market price should be 320. If I had to calculate market price now, after taking or calculating for a 20% discount, 80% of market price, 0.8 times market price has to be 320. Market price has to be 400. This is the sense we keep on carrying, and we use that for question 3 as well. So I am assuming that we are all good here. This is clear. Really good. Cool. Another set of questions your way. Some of these may take time, but I would want you to calculate all 6, and then we have some more questions. Today is all about questions, not so much about concept. There aren't great concepts, not a lot of concepts at least. And I will talk about some concepts through the questions. Why don't you guys go ahead and calculate these 6 questions, calculate the answers to these 6 questions. Okay. Keep on going. Zero, I'm afraid, is not the right answer. I hope you've read the question thoroughly, Pranitha and Charan. I'm not sure if you've read the question correctly. Please reread it. try it again. This is not the same cost price, the same selling price. Possibly Punita, yes. 4% is one of the options. Let's just put it like that. If you try this, you can move on. Sorry, I've had. So 4% loss is sorry, 5% loss in question three is closed, Sharan. It's I guess I'll discuss, but it's an approximation, a fair approximation. Fourth is clearly 60% profit indeed. Let's start discussing in another. This isn't 76% loss. Yeah. Let's start discussing in the next couple of minutes, guys. Yes, indeed. Neither, that's absolutely correct. Last minute, guys. Last. If anyone is still trying, I will start discussing in the next over the next 30 seconds. Okay, cool. Um, so let me go back to the slide. In question number one, any problem with question one? Loss is 25%. You could always take cost price as 100 and selling price as 75, and that would immediately answer your question. Take cost price as 100, selling price comes out to be 75, 25% less than cost price. That is what loss means, and then you can calculate the question given. In question number two, let me discuss question number two and also share with you the formula needed or the formula sort of available for this question. Of course, if you don't know the formula, the simple method is take selling price for both items, let's say selling price of item 1 and item 2 as 100 each. If item 1 has 20% profit and 2 incurs 20% loss, then you can calculate the respective cost price. 20% profit means 1.2 times cost price is 100. So cost price comes out to be 100 divided by 1.2, which is 200 by 250 by 3. 83.33. Cost price of 1. Let me call it CP1. Cost price of 2, of course, you can calculate, because if you have 20% loss, then 0.8 times cost price of 2 must be 100. Yeah, which means cost price of 2 comes out to be a nice simple value of 125. So now you have a total cost price of 250 by 3. 250 by 3 plus 125. This is 208.33, or if you want to keep it in the decimal, you can keep it. It would make more sense if you keep it in decimal, by the way. You will get the exact answer. And your total selling price of S1 plus S2, 100 plus 100, 200. It's absolutely clear that this is loss, and you can calculate the loss because you have the total cost and the total sales. And loss is, of course, cost minus sales upon cost into 100. Loss percentage. Now, for such a question, I want to share this formula. But first, let me share the conditions. Condition 1, selling price of 2 items. This formula only works with 2 items. If the selling price of 2 items is the same. And this is condition number 1. And condition number 2 is, of course, if the profit percentage on one item is equal to the loss percentage on the second item. So both sort of incur or both the profit percentage on the first is equal to loss percentage, like in our question it was 20% each. Let's say this is equal to X. Yeah, if both the conditions are met, condition 1 is met, the selling price of the 2 items is the same, and profit percentage on loss on 1 is equal to loss percentage of the second, then this leads to a loss, always leads to a loss percentage of X square. The X was our profit or loss percentage. This is loss percentage is equal to X square by 100. Very, very simple and direct formula. So what you are calculating here using using all the calculations, you could have directly got if you knew the formula. And X in our question was 20%. So 20 square 400 by 100 would have given us a 4% loss. Is this clear? This may be a useful formula to have in your kitty, sort of. Okay, that is very good. Um, Now, question number 3. I think what you could have done here, you may already have. You can buy 1 dozen of lot 1, yeah, spending rupees 24, and buy 1 dozen of lot 2, spending rupees 18. Just buy 1 dozen each of lot 1 and 2, spending 24 and 18, spending 42 rupees. So in question 3, your total cost, let me know if you don't get this. Your total cost would have come down to 24 for the first dozen, 18 for the second dozen, rupees or units in terms of units 42. Total selling prices, of course, since you're selling 2 dozens for rupees 20 per dozen, it is rupees 40. And you can immediately calculate what the loss is going to be. This is very clearly loss. The answer is 4.76%. And as I said, 5% is not bad, so it's close enough. Question number 4 and 5, we've already discussed these type of questions. 8 by 5. It means the selling price is 1.6 times. 8 by 5 is 1.6. 2 by 40 into 100. I think it's more direct, Charan, here. Selling price is simply 1.6 times cost price. I am struggling to keep up with the conversation Charan and Preet are having. I'm sorry, Charan, what is 2 by 40 into 100? It's 2 by 42. Yeah, indeed. It is 2 by 42. Okay, got it. Yeah, indeed. It is 2 by 42 into 100. It's not 2 by 40. And of course, in question 4, selling price is 1.6 times cost price. And 5, its selling price is 0.72. 18 by 25 is 0.72. You can multiply both by 4 and get the, in 4, selling price is 1.6 times cost price. And that is absolutely clear. We've discussed this many times now. We've increased, if you have to calculate the selling price, it's essentially an increase of 60% on cost price. This is what profit is. That is what 1.6 represents, an increase of 60%. And in 5, selling price was, or you could calculate it to be 0.72 times cost price, which means you must decrease cost price by 28%. Decrease cost price by 28% to get selling price. That is what loss is. Loss is 28%. Minus just represents that it's percentage decrease. Yeah. And of course, overall discount, if the series of discounts given are 60%, 25%, and 20%. Again, we discussed successive percentage change. This is successive percentage change of 60, 20, and 25%. Yeah. And you could have assumed the initial value is 100, and the final value would have been firstly 60% decrease, which is multiplying by 0.4. Then another 20% decrease on this quantity, which is multiplying by 0.8, and another 25% decrease, which is multiplying by 0.75. Change these two ratios. 0.4 is, of course, 2 by 5. 0.8 is, of course, 4 by 5. 0.75 is, of course, 3 by 4. It's not a very difficult calculation to manage. And this would have given you 24. Indeed. So you started with 100 as your quantity, as your mark price essentially, and your selling price turned out to be 24 after the 3 successive discounts. Thus, your discount must be 76% because to get from 100 to 24, you must decrease 100 by 76%. That is what discount represents. Is this clear? Is what you've done so far clear? Because if it is, then congratulations, you've got the hang of profit and loss. Okay, very, very good. Very, very good. Then let me send you a file right now. And ask you to just solve 2 or 3 questions from this file, and of course, solve the others as homework, and the file I had sent yesterday as homework too. So where is it? Yeah. And Vishweshwar, I'm sharing this file through my Zoom ID here. You can open the file or just have a look at the screen. I've already shared it on the screen. Please focus on just 3 questions. We will discuss all the rest. Please focus on the very, very simple question 13. Question 17, which is based on what we had done yesterday, and question 18, which is a rather interesting question. Just these 3 questions for the time being. 13, 17, and 18. Just try these, please. Okay, good. Go ahead. Keep going. Not bad. As I said, 30 was very simple and direct. Indeed, indeed. Why don't you give me the answer to question 17 and 18? Any answers to question 18? Nalita, Charan, or Vishweshwar, or any of the others? 10%, I'm afraid Vinita is not the right answer. Sharon, 11 is also not entirely accurate, let's say that. I mean, this deserves the exact answer. Okay, yeah. It is 11.1%. Yeah, indeed. Good. Please take one more minute, guys. Thereafter, I'll start discussing. Okay, does anyone else need a minute? Or do we jump to the discussion? Okay, cool. So, yeah, any problem, guys, with question number 17? I'm not even talking about 13. That is super direct. Okay, Jayashekaran, I will. I will discuss 18. What about 17? Any problem with 17, guys? Something we discussed yesterday. Yeah, using the expenditure type of question. This 17 is essentially the expenditure type of question, where petrol has decreased by 10%, and therefore the quantity must increase by a certain percentage. And if you equate that to 5 gallons, you will get the price. Does anyone here want me to discuss 17, or should we just discuss 18? Okay, cool. Then let's just okay, 17. You want me to discuss 17? That is cool. Let's jump to 17 then. First of all, now where were we? So 17 reads, a reduction in the price of petrol by 10% enables the motorist to buy 5 more gallons for a budgeted amount of 180, for $180. So, essentially it's the same question. Expenditure is quantity of petrol bought into rate or the price per liter. Since the rate has decreased by 10%, 10%, if you remember, is 1/10. Yeah. So this means that my final rate is 1/10 less than the initial rate, which means that the final rate is initial rate minus 1/10 of the initial rate. This, of course, R minus R by 10 is 9R by 10. Now to maintain the expenditure, yeah, to maintain the expenditure within, in this case, in case 1 or case 2 is $180. To maintain this expenditure, as we discussed yesterday, if rate has become 9 by 10 times, quantity will become 10 by 9 times of the initial quantity. If initial was Q, final will be 10 by 9Q. And it is this difference between the two, between the new quantity 10 by 9Q and Q, which essentially is Q by 9, that must be 5 gallons. So my initial quantity must be 45 gallons. Yeah. Sorry, there's a question. So you have to find the original price of petrol. In the question, you have, of course, the expenditure, initial plan budgeted expenditure was 180. Your initial plan budgeted quantity was 45. It's very easy to calculate that quantity is 45 into $4 dollars per gallon. That must be your original price, $4 for a gallon. Is this clear, Vishweshwar? Or anyone else who had a doubt? Question 18. 18 talks about a shopkeeper cheating essentially while claiming that the cost price he's selling for, or the selling price he's selling for, cost, sorry, is equal to the cost price that he's buying at. So this essentially means that the cost price at which he is bought per kg is the same as the selling price per kg, but there's a catch, of course, because he claims or he sells, the way he sells it is, he sells 0.9 kgs as 1 kg. Yeah. Now, the simplest way to calculate this question, there are many ways to calculate this question. The simplest way to, is to do it is to assume that the cost price of whatever good this question is talking about is rupees 100 per kg. And firstly, this is a simple assumption that you can make. And the second assumption, the second thing you must do is you must buy and sell equal quantities. That is the only reason I want to share this question. This is something you must not make a mistake in. Buy and sell equal quantities. And in this question, the simplest thing to do would be to buy 0.9 kgs. Just buy 0.9 kgs. Yeah. Because when you buy 0.9 kgs, you will actually sell 1 kg at 100 rupees a kg. Which means your total cost, the cost you must have incurred is in buying 0.9 kgs is 0.9 into 100 rupees a kg, rupees 90. But when you sell, since you're selling 0.9 kgs as 1 kg, your total sale will be 1 kg into 100, rupees 100. Thus, your cost is 90, your sale is 100, your profit is without a shadow of doubt in percentage terms 10 by 90 into 100. And 1 by 9, if you remember, is 11.11%. 1 by 9 to 100 essentially. The equivalent percentage of 1 by 9, which essentially means that 100 by 9 is 11.11%. Yeah. Is this clear? You could also, what you could also have done if you saw through the question, you could have directly claimed or understood that the shopkeeper is gaining 0.1 kg on every 0.9 kg. For every 900 gram the shopkeeper buys, he gains 0.1 kg. You could have seen this in terms of weight because the selling price and the cost price are essentially the same. The profit here is due to the manipulation of the weight by the shopkeeper, which is 0.1 kg on every 0.9 kgs. And that has to be your profit, 0.1 by 0.9, which is essentially 1 by 9, which essentially is again 11.11%, 1 by 9 into 100. Yeah. Not always, Mehtan, no, not always. I could have given you the same question saying that the shopkeeper increases the cost by 20% while also, cheating by making 900 grams as 1 kg, something of this sort. You could, in that case, have solved the question the exact same way. So, I hope you understood the question. The shopkeeper has increased the price by 20% as well as cheated to get 0.9 kgs as 1 kgs. What you could directly have done in that case is, in the same calculation, if you follow the calculation, the cost would have been the same. It would have been prudent to buy 0.9 kgs, taking 100 rupees a kg as the cost price. Your cost price or total cost would have been 90, but the total sale in that case would have been taking 1 kg instead of 0.9, because of the cheating, into 120. That would become 1 into 120. Your total sale would have become 120 in that case. From 90 as cost price to 120 as selling price, you could have calculated the profit percentage as 33.33%. So it is not necessary that you'll always get the same cost price and selling price. This is actually not a question type typically associated with GMAT. This question type is associated more with Indian MBA exams, to be very honest. But since it's a nice question, and of course GMAT is not typically restricted to anything, I thought I would share this question. Yeah. Okay, good. That's it from my side for today. Thank you very much. That covers another important part of percentage, profit and loss.